My child, there comes a moment in every life when the silence of heaven breaks, when the gentle whisper you once felt becomes a thunder that splits your fear open, when the ground beneath your hesitation begins to shake, not to destroy you, but to wake you. You have reached that moment. God is not whispering anymore, He is shaking the earth for you. He is shifting the ground under your feet because you were never meant to stay where you settled, never meant to remain where doubt convinced you to stand still. You have prayed for a sign, begged for direction, waited for clarity, and now the entire universe trembles because the signal you asked for is no longer subtle. It is fierce. It is loud. It is relentless. It is the shaking that forces you to move. You think your life is falling apart, but it is being rearranged. You think everything is collapsing, but everything is being rebuilt. That tension you feel, that pressure on your chest, that sudden urge to change everything you thought was permanent, that is divine force pulling you out of the shallow version of yourself. You were not made for smallness. You were not created for hesitation. The fire in your bones did not come from the earth, it came from the breath of the Almighty. And yet you have been trying to live quietly, shrinking yourself, dimming your own spark as if the one who made stars expects you to hide. No more. The whisper is gone. The shaking has begun. There are moments when God allows comfort, and there are moments when God destroys comfort so your destiny can breathe. You are in the second moment. You are in the season where nothing feels stable because nothing small can hold the weight of the person you are becoming. You prayed for strength, so He sent storms. You prayed for courage, so He removed crutches. You prayed for growth, so He shook everything you were leaning on. Growth is never gentle. Transformation is never soft. You think you are breaking, but you are breaking free, my child. Listen to the sound of the shift. Every disappointment was a push. Every delay was a setup. Every heartbreak was a redirection. Every loss was pruning. Every closed door was protection. You think life betrayed you, but heaven rerouted you. You think people abandoned you, but God removed those who couldn't survive the altitude you're rising to. You think you are alone, but solitude is the chamber where warriors are forged. Diamonds are not made in comfort. Lions are not raised in silence. Earthquakes do not visit places where nothing valuable is buried. The shaking means something inside you is worth awakening. You wanted miracles, but you expected them gently. You wanted transformation, but you wanted it without disruption. You wanted destiny, but you expected it to come without demands. God is not whispering anymore, He is shaking the earth because subtle signs no longer reach you. You have grown past whispers. You have matured past nudges. You require thunder now. You require motion. You require impact. The season you are walking into is not for the faint-hearted version of you. It is for the warrior buried under years of doubt, fear, compromise, pain, and memory. The shaking is not punishment. It is resurrection. There is a reason giants never come from comfort. There is a reason legends rise from breaking points. There is a reason destiny begins where excuses die. The shaking you feel is God telling you that your life is overdue for expansion. You have stayed too long in places your spirit outgrew. You have lived in cages you convinced yourself were homes. You have worn chains you labeled as responsibilities. You have accepted limits that were never yours. The shaking comes to break what you chose because you forgot what you were called for, and yes, it hurts. Elevation always hurts. Not because you are weak, but because you are shedding the self you were never meant to be. Pain is not the enemy, it is the midwife of power. Pressure is not your opponent, it is your catalyst. God shakes the earth not to frighten you, but to free you. You asked for more. This is what more feels like before you recognize it. Your tears are not evidence of defeat. They are evidence of stretching. They are evidence of becoming. They are evidence that your old life is too small to contain your new spirit. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. The soil cracks before seeds rise. The cocoon tears before wings unfold. The night deepens before sunrise explodes. You are in that holy tearing. You are in that sacred cracking. You are in the divine disruption that precedes destiny, my child. Stop asking why everything feels unstable. Destiny demands movement. God shakes what you cling to so you will finally cling to Him. He is not removing your world, He is rebuilding it. He is not taking things away, He is replacing what you thought was enough with what is actually meant for you. Every delay is rearrangement. Every frustration is preparation. Every setback is alignment. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. Look at your life. The patterns, the pressure, the unpredictability, none of it is random. You are being prepared for stages you have not yet seen, for rooms you haven't entered, for victories your old self could not carry. If God allowed things to remain calm, you would stay small. Comfort kills calling. Familiarity suffocates greatness. It is only when your safe world collapses that your true world begins. This is why the shaking does not stop when you resist, it intensifies. God refuses to let you shrink anymore. You have outgrown version after version of yourself while pretending nothing changed. But heaven keeps records. Heaven knows when your spirit has matured beyond your surroundings. Heaven knows when your purpose is too big for your habits. Heaven knows when your destiny is being slowed by your comfort. And heaven refuses to let you settle. The shaking is not chaos, it is choreography. Everything is moving exactly as it must. The connections falling off your life are not losses, they are pruning. The habits you suddenly cannot tolerate are not inconveniences, they are evolution. The tiredness you feel is not exhaustion, it is spiritual shedding. The desire to change everything is not impulsive, it is divine urging. You feel like your life is expanding and collapsing at the same time because that is exactly how rebirth feels. My child, understand this. If God is shaking the earth for you, then heaven has already decided your rise. Nothing can stop what has been decreed. Not circumstance. Not fear. Not people. Not timing. The shaking clears the path for the unstoppable version of you. The shaking exposes foundations that were never meant to carry your future. The shaking tears down walls you didn't know you built around your own power. You are not losing control, you are losing illusion. Control was never the goal, alignment is. Do you understand the depth of this season? Do you feel the fire crawling under your skin? That restlessness, that hunger, that sacred dissatisfaction, it is all evidence that your ordinary days are over. You are stepping into extraordinary. And extraordinary requires shaking. Extraordinary demands surrender. Extraordinary only arrives when you let go of everything that kept you ordinary. My child, God is not whispering anymore because the whisper was never meant to be permanent. Whispers are for the beginning. Shaking is for the chosen. And you are chosen. You are called. You are marked. You are rising. You are expanding. You are transforming. You are stepping into a destiny that will require every ounce of courage in your soul, but God is shaking the earth so you have no choice but to move, move. Rise. Break open. Grow. Become. The earth is shaking. That is your confirmation. That is your sign. That is your miracle. My child, if you could see what heaven is preparing behind the scenes, you would understand why the shaking had to be violent. You would understand why nothing could remain the same. You would understand why relationships that felt permanent suddenly dissolved, why doors you trusted suddenly shut, why people you never expected to fail you suddenly disappeared. It is not betrayal when God removes what is too small for the greatness He is building inside you. It is alignment. It is divine editing. It is heaven refusing to let you anchor your identity to anything that cannot travel with you to the next level. The shaking is not a warning. It is a declaration that the chapter you settled for is over. A declaration that your gifts are waking up. A declaration that your spirit is being reforged. A declaration that your destiny is entering its active stage. God is not whispering anymore because whispers cannot move someone who has already survived storms. Whispers are for the beginning, thunder is for the becoming. You have reached the threshold where your life must erupt into its next version. Do you feel how everything inside you is rearranging itself? The way your thoughts feel louder, sharper, more urgent? The way your heart refuses to tolerate what it once accepted? The way your intuition has grown restless, pulling you towards something you cannot name yet? That is spiritual acceleration. That is heaven turning up the volume of your purpose. That is destiny clearing its throat inside of you. You are not going crazy, you are waking up, you are not lost, you are being rerouted, you are not failing, you are shedding layers that were too small for your calling. Every emotion that shakes you is part of the earthquake God sent to shift your life. Every restlessness is a sign you are shifting dimensions. Every frustration is a sign you're outgrowing your environment. You keep trying to fix things that God is trying to break on purpose. You keep trying to hold together a life heaven has already outgrown. You keep trying to revive things that have served their season. The shaking will not stop until you let go, my child. You were not created to live as a muted version of yourself. You were not made to walk through life apologizing for your fire. You were not designed to be ordinary. Ordinary cannot contain you. Ordinary cannot withstand your spirit. Ordinary cannot hold your calling. That is why ordinary environments collapse around you now. They are cracking under the weight of your destiny. The ground is shaking because you are becoming too heavy for the life you've been living. You prayed for elevation, but elevation requires excavation. God must dig out what is buried, remove what is rotting, uproot what was planted in fear. You wanted a breakthrough without breaking. You wanted transformation without disruption. You wanted a bigger life without releasing the smaller one. But heaven does not negotiate with your comfort, it collaborates with your calling. And your calling demands movement. Every force of destiny in your life right now is pushing you forward. Every pressure is preparing you. Every disruption is sharpening you. Every loss is clearing your path. You think you are being stripped, but you are being strengthened. You think you are losing, but you are being lifted. You think you are alone, but this isolation is the furnace where God forges unshakable people. Some of the greatest shifts in your life happen when you are surrounded by silence, because silence removes distractions. Silence forces you to hear heaven. Silence forces you to confront yourself. Silence forces you to choose transformation. And right now, even in your silence, the earth is rumbling beneath your future. My child, do not mistake the earthquake for destruction. Earthquakes break foundations that are not stable. Earthquakes expose weakness. Earthquakes separate what is temporary from what is eternal. God is shaking your life not to collapse you, but to collapse what cannot sustain the weight of your destiny. You have been carrying dreams inside you that are too large to fit inside the structure of your old life. That old structure had to fall. That old identity had to crumble. That old self had to burn. You cannot enter a new season wearing the ashes of the old one. You cannot rise with the old version of you chained to your ankles. The shaking broke the chains you refused to cut. This is not the moment to retreat. This is the moment to rise with holy defiance. Rise with fire in your voice. Rise with purpose in your spine. Rise with clarity that comes only from being broken open and rebuilt. You are stepping into the part of your life where your potential will finally become visible. The part where your gifts activate. The part where your spirit becomes louder than your fear. The part where your destiny stops waiting for you and starts pulling you. You can feel it, can't you? That pressure in your chest. That heat in your bones. That voice in your spirit saying move. That sense that the world around you is too small now. That is not imagination. That is destiny tapping its foot, saying, it's time. It's time to stop negotiating with your future. It's time to stop entertaining fear. It's time to stop seeking permission from people who were never meant to understand your calling. It's time to step into the divine magnitude of who you are, my child. You have been chosen for something that requires courage most people will never touch. That is why you feel the shaking so intensely. That is why the pressure is so heavy. Heaven applies pressure only to those who are built for greatness. God shakes the earth only for those who are meant to stand on mountains. This is the next stage of your becoming. This is the next level of your calling. This is the moment your life shifts permanently. And the shaking, it will not end until you move into the life God designed for you. My child, this is where everything turns. This is where the shaking becomes meaning. This is where the season that felt like destruction reveals itself as preparation. You have survived enough storms to know this. When God is quiet, He is building. When God whispers, He is guiding. But when God shakes the earth, He is about to launch you. And right now, everything around you is trembling because heaven is done waiting for you to believe in yourself. The shaking is the final warning, the final cleansing, the final wake-up call. You are stepping into the part of your life where your excuses cannot follow. This ending is not an ending. This ending is birth. And birth is violent. Birth is messy. Birth is loud. Birth requires pushing past pain, breathing through fear, and refusing to give up when everything inside you feels like breaking. But my child, you are not breaking. You are crowning. You are rising. You are emerging from the shell of who you used to be. You are stepping into the identity heaven wrote for you long before the world tried to shrink you. Stop questioning what was already decided. Stop doubting what heaven already confirmed. Stop pretending you are average when your spirit refuses to settle. You were not created to fit in. You were created to disrupt atmospheres. That is why the shaking follows you. That is why environments collapse around you the moment you outgrow them. That is why you cannot stay where you once felt comfortable. The earth itself shifts to push you forward. There is a version of you that God sees, stronger, louder, wiser, sharper, bolder, and the shaking is meant to pull that version out of hiding. You have lived too long in the shadows of your potential. You have buried too many dreams under fear. You have silenced too many callings because of doubt. No more. Heaven is done watching you shrink. Heaven is done watching you hesitate. Heaven is done watching you waste the fire in your bones. The final shaking is here. It arrives in the form of opportunities disguised as risks, decisions disguised as fear, changes disguised as chaos. You are being pushed into situations where your only option is to grow. You are being placed in moments where your spirit must speak louder than your insecurity. You are being elevated to heights where old habits cannot survive. And yes, it feels uncomfortable. But every great destiny begins at the edge of discomfort. Look back for a moment. Look at everything you've endured. Look at every storm you walked through. Look at every betrayal you overcame. Look at every night you thought would break you. Look at every moment you thought was the end. And notice something, you're still here. After everything. Stronger than the pain. Stronger than the fear. Stronger than the doubt. Stronger than every force that tried to bury you. If the storms didn't kill you, they were meant to shape you, my child. You think the shaking is happening to you. It is happening for you. Every disappointment pushed you into alignment. Every heartbreak pulled you higher. Every loss carved space inside you for what is coming. Every closed door redirected your steps. Every collapse created a clearing for something bigger. And now heaven is ready. And now your spirit is ready. And now destiny is ready. This last part of the shaking is different. This is not just preparation. This is activation. This is where everything suddenly makes sense. This is where every pain gains purpose. This is where the fog lifts and you finally see why you had to lose what you lost. Why certain people were removed. Why certain seasons ended abruptly. Why certain prayers were delayed. God was not withholding, He was building. Your life is about to experience a shift that cannot be undone. A shift that will make every past season worth surviving. A shift that will take the version of you forged by pressure and place you in a future that requires strength, not softness. Destiny does not come to the timid. Destiny comes to the shaken, the stretched, the tested, the refined. Destiny comes to those who rise even when the ground beneath them crumbles. This is your rise, not a gentle rise, a violent rise, a shaking rise, a heaven-breathed rise, the kind of rise that breaks generational patterns. The kind of rise that silences every voice of doubt, the kind of rise that makes demons nervous, the kind of rise that shocks the world, the kind of rise that proves God has been with you the entire time. My child, hear this with your whole soul. The shaking was the sign, the shaking was the catalyst, the shaking was the divine push, the shaking was the final confirmation that your old life is gone. You are not returning to who you were. You are not going back to what you knew. You are not shrinking to fit anyone's comfort. You are stepping into the life God shook the earth to give you. Walk forward now, walk boldly, walk fiercely, walk like heaven backs every step. God is not whispering anymore, He is clearing the path, removing the obstacles, igniting the fire, and shaking the earth. For you, now go, rise, Step into your divine, unstoppable, unshakable becoming. This is your moment. This is your shift. This is your destiny. And nothing, nothing, will stand in your way anymore.